there, and welcome to today's video. Do you ever get those days that you're going to do something and then end up doing something completely different? Well, that's what happened with today's build. So for today's build, it's called Building Lot. I don't know if any of you have actually noticed when you put down a building in Sims, you get a little icon or a little animation of a house being built. So I decided to build that house. I was going to build something completely different for this week, but the second I saw that icon, I figured why not just build this and see where that takes me. So that's what we're doing for today. Now, I put the picture as a reference on the bottom, but as you can see, we only see the front of the house and a tree. That's it, that's all we see. So there's no colors, there's no floor plan, there's no other landscaping besides that tree. So I really just ran with that. First, I worked a bit on the layout, so I cut out a lot of that. So this week's video is not as long as it usually would be. But trust me, I don't think anyone needed to see me struggling for probably an hour trying to figure out a floor plan. That's an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. So after figuring out the floor plan, I wasn't too sure if the house was too deep, and I didn't want to mess up the sides a whole bunch because if there was going to be something on both sides, you would be able to see that from the front picture. So the only thing that I messed around with a bit was the back, and even that I was very, let's say, conservative on what I did. I basically just bumped in the back of the house, and I kept it pretty square, I would say, since that is kind of where I think this house would have gone. Then again, we just have a picture, we could have made it as big or as little as we wanted to, but I was also working around the windows at the front and what that would mean for the rest of the house. So for example, I decided maybe the sides of the house wouldn't have many windows if they had any at all. So after figuring out the layout and the windows and all that, it came time to basically just do the furnishing. Now, some of the furniture has been placed here and there, because the layout was one where I couldn't really figure out where I wanted to put the dining room table without getting in the way of the stairs going, well, upstairs, or the doors going towards the backyard. So that took me a bit to figure out, and then I started placing furniture just as a placeholder, but I ended up keeping a lot of this furniture and just changing the color of it. Now, what exactly does that mean for the style? It means that it was a completely different style than what I originally had in mind. I originally imagined this house being a lot more traditional on the inside than what it ended up being, but I also really liked the colors that I ended up putting in this house. I've been trying to be a bit more out there with my colors instead of just always doing black and white and stuff like that. So, for example, on this house, I've been wanting to build a house with pink siding for quite a while. It always ends up being either orange or green or something, never pink. I never tend to choose pink right away. So I thought, why not try it out, see where it takes us, and I actually think it ended up being quite a cute house. I ended up having a lot of landscaping here and there, since another thing I notice I do a lot is put pools in backyards, mainly as space fillers. So I decided this time around to not have a pool, since at the end of the day that does drive the cost of a house a little bit. I'm not sure how much this one ended up being. But I decided not to put a pool on this one, make it a little different for once, and I ended up having just monkey bars, some gardening, some barbecuing, and that's about it. If this was a house IRL, let's be real, no one would be spending that much money to put in a pool if it didn't already come with a house, unless you really wanted a pool. Though, if you consider it, it seems at least here in Canada it's not as popular for people to want a pool in their backyard. It's more common for someone to not want one, just because of the cost of maintenance and all that. I do think there's plenty of activities in this house, though, for skill building. There's more than one bookshelf, so there's plenty of bookshelves throughout the house. And downstairs, I originally was going to fit in a bathroom, which I think was part of my issue trying to figure out a layout. But what I ended up doing was I made two offices, studio spaces. So one ended up being just a room with a computer in it, and the other one ended up being an art studio, I guess you could say it that way. So that covers off your computer and your easel, but there's also a chess table outside, and there's plenty of space upstairs for kids to do their homework as well. I debated putting a computer up there, especially since I ended up making this house for two kids or maybe two teens and two toddlers. So that space could be changed around a bit if you wanted to add another computer, for example, but the way that it was good enough for me, since I didn't know at first if it was going to be toddlers or children. But I also like the idea of keeping that space without a computer since there is a designated office area. Now, the one room that I had the most fun in figuring out colors, believe it or not, was the master bedroom, even though it's basically all black. Here's the thing, I've been really into monochrome rooms lately, and I wanted to have everything be black and white with some accents here and there. So I had a lot of fun trying to look for the furniture that would actually go with it. I originally was going to go with really crazy colors, for example, but ended up really liking the way that this room turned out. I think if I was bold enough to have a fully black room in my house, I think it would probably be the bedroom. Something about it just would put you to sleep right away, I think. But anyways, we are getting close to the end of the video, so do let me know down below what you thought of this one. Do you think it would probably be a different style considering the windows from the outside? I debated putting in the ones that don't have any crosses on the inside, but that is what the picture was showing, so I wasn't sure if I would have enough creative liberty to change it up that much. But anyways, let me know what you think down below regardless, and I hope you liked today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great weekend!